When I got in the industry in 1987, I was told the largest decision that most people would ever make was the house that they would buy. 35 years later, here we sit, and I will tell you the largest financial decision that most people will ever make is when to take Social Security. There are dates that matter, there's dates that don't, but you need to know which they are and what's best for you. Join us on Consider This Program. We'll break it down. Good morning and welcome back to Consider This Program. I'm your host, Joe Clark.
I'm Grant Soliven.
We are happy to have you along. Hey, I will tell you, as I put in the description, I remember it as clear as all get out. They told me when I got into the financial services industry 2 weeks before the crash of 1987. I know many of you who are listening never even knew there was a crash in 1987, but we lost 23.9% of our money in one day. It was a beautiful thing. Don't feel bad for me. Please stop. I had no money and I had no clients, right? And so it was a beautiful, beautiful thing. I thought markets are just based on volatility. I didn't have to acknowledge any of the pain. It was shocking to me that everybody else in the office quit. And then I had to learn this industry on my own. So I've always called myself the Rodney Dangerfield of the financial services industry. If you've not seen Back to School, you ought to watch it. Where Rodney goes back to school. He buys a dorm so that he can go to school with his son, and he's sitting in the classroom, and the professor's talking about everything you need to do to produce a widget, and Rodney raises his hand in the back of the room and goes, "You forgot about this bribe, and you forgot about this kickback, and you know, all of the things that are going on." Our industry is filthy. It is set up to retain cash, not to help you enjoy your accumulation, not to help you enjoy your savings, not to help you understand how much you can take out without fear of running out. And that's really what Grant and I are here for, is to try to help you understand how to use your capital, the best way to use your money, and the best decisions that you can possibly make. So I'm going to set him up here. And if you're paying attention to the show, you're going to go, "Joe, you are an idiot." And I'm going to go, "It worked out okay," right? So here's the deal with Social Security. The government will write you a check once you reach the age of 62. I manage money, a little over $650 million at the time of this recording, right? That's what our team does for people, a little over 1,000 families across 31 states. When you spend money out of that account, I get paid less. Makes sense, right? I manage money. The more the money goes down, the less I get paid. The more it goes up, the more I get paid, right? In general, people, me, you, everyone else, likes it when it goes up, not down. All right, so here's the deal. Why in the world would anybody try to tell you to delay Social Security and spend more money out of your account if they get paid for you to leave money in the account? And the answer is most won't. But the bottom line is, as fiduciaries, Grant and I are trained to do what we would do with our own money if we were in a similar situation. And Social Security is a very, very simple definition of where people get it wrong the most often, because they don't understand investing, taxes, and income distribution planning. That's why I'm writing my book, Retirement Runway. It's why we're spending so much time on this show talking about it. Where is the best place for me to access money? When, why, how, and for what reason? So I'll get off my soapbox, but just understand the reason you don't hear what Grant's getting ready to tell you very often is because it's not in Wall Street's best interest. But that's not our job at the Financial Enhancement Group. It's to be in your best interest. That's our job, and that's what we're going to stick to. All right, Grant, tell me about Social Security.
Absolutely. And Joe, really want to spend time on Social Security timing, as again, like you said, with the book, as in the news article that you and I just co-authored and put out. This is such an important discussion, and I don't know how else we can make it known. I mean, this can be for some families anywhere from a $500,000 to $1.5 million decision, and yet we want to take it as soon as possible and limit ourselves. And some families may need to. That's okay. We have that discussion. But Social Security, just so you all understand, Social Security again, a government system, is a government pension plan that we've paid into over time. And I've watched, Joe, just out of curiosity, how many videos are out there on YouTube talking about what you and I are about to talk about? I found two videos. And guess who they were? Us. The rest of them are actually out there telling you to take it early because the math makes sense. Oftentimes, you've heard us on the show talk about never make a financial decision in distribution, which is your retirement years, in a silo. Joe, this isn't a silo. This is an obelisk. Social Security is an obelisk. People don't put it in a silo. It's much bigger. And the math. Grant, I'm an engineer. I've done the math on this. If I take it at 62, I'll get all my money back before XYZ age. If you delay till 70, as you're telling me, I have to live to at least 82. And I go, great, you did the math. Now promise me you're going to die before 82.
Die on time is what I call it.
You true.
You have to die on time. It's 84 and a half. You have to die on time.
Mm-hmm. And again, in that decision, no one knows when they're going home. But here's the most important piece of the conversation with Social Security. And no one, zero people who've talked about taking it early have addressed the one topic we focus on most: taxes. Because when you turn the Social Security income on, you add income to your 1040 that limits the ability to do tax planning appropriately. And more importantly, if you take it early, 62, okay? So my full retirement age is 67. I know that puppy's getting kicked back eventually, but for right now it's 67. And if you take it at 62, not only do you get a 6% income decrease
each year,
plus cost of living adjustment, not only do you get that, but you are restricted in the amount of money you can earn. Because the minute you earn more than, I believe it's $18,000 per year, they reduce Social Security by $2 for every one.
It's ridiculous.
It's insane.
If you really, and Grant summarized this pretty well, if you really need the money, if you need it to eat, if you need it to be in your house, if you need it to sleep, it means you have no other assets. And if you need to take it, then God bless. That's why that system is set up there. But you know, I always tell people, if you think, 1, taxes are not going higher, 2, you agree to die on time, which is 84 and a half, and 3, you have no other assets, right? If you have all of those 3, you don't think taxes are going higher, you agree to die on time, and you have no other assets, then take Social Security anytime you darn well please. It's the largest actuarial pool in the system, and the math will work out, other than, as Grant said, the COLA, the cost of living allowance. You know, people ask me all the time what I think is going to change in Social Security. Grant kind of hit a little bit. Part of it will be most likely, for me at 67, the baby boom population, you got to remember, the peak was between 1957 and 1961. That mass of people will control and dictate a lot of the politics for a long time, and they vote, right? So you're not going to see a lot of change in Social Security. I was born in 66. Social Security is probably not going to change for me. For Grant, it probably will. Probably should, in all fairness. The cost of living allowance may go away. When Social Security was originally created, there was no taxation, but it was also designed for people who died. Life expectancy was death before the benefit kicked in, and it was 0 tax. And then it went to 50% tax. Now the max amount of it's 85% tax. It'll probably go to 100% tax at some point in time. Cost of living allowances may be taken away. They didn't exist before the 70s. Here's a great idea. Why don't we take the largest amount of inflation in U.S. history and decide to give a cost of living allowance to our largest benefit? Brilliant on the politician's part. But, you know, it's the world that we live in, folks. You have to expect and embrace change and understand where it's coming. You've got to have a plan that is be able to deal with that change. And when we talk about tax diversification, when we talk about the 3 phases of finance, the fiduciary focus, bracket bumping, the strategies that we use inside of here, there is a reason for that. And those reasons offer us flexibility.
And I want to go back to something, Joe, you said before as well, because when we forget about flexibility and it's the amazing aspect it can add to our distribution phase of finance, then we allow the rhetoric to not change. Joe said it perfectly early on, everybody, and I want you to not miss that. Wall Street does not want you to delay Social Security, right? Most financial institutions, if not all of them with the exception of a few, don't want you to delay Social Security. The pension programs that come out of some of our largest companies, they give you an increase in your pension benefit, and then when you turn 62, it goes away, artificially making you think from behavioral finance, oh, shoot, probably need to take on Social Security so I can get that maximum income back. Everything that we have been taught in finance runs counterintuitive to taking Social Security early. It just does. Yet people do it all the time. And so if you're thinking about Social Security, please talk to a fiduciary or professional before you make any decisions. And yes, everything you see online, read in books, everything you get from most financial commentaries, they're going to say, oh, for retirement age or earlier. Just don't fall into that trap. There's so much more to this operation than just taking it early.
We have a propensity to believe the more information we get, the better decision we can make. That's why in 1995, there were more publicly traded companies then than there are today. And the volume went from 200 million shares of traded stock in 1995 to over 2 billion shares a day today. We believe the more information we get, the better decision we can make. And the more often, especially, and I'm talking to my group now, not Grant's, right? I'm talking to you people that are 55 and over. Right? I'm talking to my mom. I'm talking to my grandparents. I'm talking to the people that I love dearly. We believe when it's in writing that it is more accurate than when it's not in writing. And the more places we get it from, the more we believe that it's true. And you have to understand, Wall Street is on the wrong side of this trade. They want you to leave money in accounts, spend money from other places so that their income can stay up. And you can go, Joe, what's $1,000 or $2,000 a month when somebody's managing $650 million like we are? Well, you take that times 1,000 families, it's a lot of money. You've got to have people who are on the right side of the trade, who are working with you, not against you. And that's what a fiduciary is all about. Go to yourlifeafterwork.com. Get signed up for your Next Steps meeting. We'll give you 90 minutes, things to consider today, things to consider for your future. And if we choose to partner together, what FEG will do for you, and we'll put it in writing. yourlifeafterwork.com, 800-928-4001.